evening, depending on where you are checking us out from. And if you are checking us out, catching us on the replay, then hello to you and thank you for taking the time to do that. Yeah, it is -7 degrees outside. Good morning, Anu, and welcome to our first ever Viral Disrupt webinar. So thank you so much for showing up live. Like I said a little while ago, we have with us here today my colleague Melissa Arniharen, who is going to be moderating the chat box. And so if you've got any tech questions, or if you have an actual content question, or a lot of content questions to direct to our special guest expert Cristina Andersson today, then feel free to do that in the chat box, and Melissa will be the person handling that for you. So good morning and welcome, let's get started. So this is our first ever Viral Disrupt talk on the topic of robots and future work. And our special guest star today, our expert, a resident in-house expert on this topic, is Cristina Andersson. And I'm super excited and honored to welcome her here with us. Good morning, Cristina.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Vera.
Hi. And so why are we doing this? What's the whole idea of the Viral Disrupt talks? The reason we're doing this is because we can see that there's a lot of shift happening in the tech space today. There's, you know, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed realities, Internet of Things is not only has it been here for a while, but it is influencing pretty much every facet of life as we know it right now. Robotics, when I was 11 years old, I watched TV shows and cartoons about robotics, but I really absolutely could not imagine that my 11-year-old, can create her own robots these days. So really, it's it's not even a kind of science fiction thing that's out there, but it's been in industry for quite a while now. And our special guest today, Cristina, has a lot of experience in this field, and she's here to share that with us today. So today we're hoping to answer these and many other questions. So have you ever wondered, like, what's going to happen to expert jobs if the robots take over? Like, really, we've got robots these days who are doing, the case law, who are going through, I'm even talking about them as human beings. These are robots who are doing expert jobs like, surgery, really demanding surgery on human beings, and they're doing a better job of it than humans. On account of the fact that humans sometimes get these micro tremors in their hands, and you don't want that going on if somebody's like going into your heart or brain. So in that way, robot better, right? But so we're here to check out where things are now and where everything is going, and hopefully get some answers for these and other questions. So before we get started, you can see that we've got a couple of new people tuning in. Very good morning, evening, afternoon to you. What brought you here today? So it would be really great if you could, share with us in the chat box a little bit about why you decided to join us this morning. We appreciate you taking your time. There's a lot of other things you could have been doing, but you're here with us, which is awesome. It would be really great to kind of find out a little bit about, what are you curious about? Why did you decide to join us live? And just give a second for our poll to start working. If you can just write out in the chat box a little bit about, Hi Anu. Anu, can you tell us why so you're just here and you just got your cup of coffee. Awesome. That's right, nothing happens without a cup of coffee. So I know there's a general interest in robotics. All right. If there's a specific question in there that, about robotics, about how things are shifting and what's going on, then please be sure to write that question. And you can do that at any time during our talk here. Yeah, what it is and how it's going to change our lives, definitely. Excellent questions. And those questions we are going to get answered for you by absolute top experts. It's a big shift. Some 10 years ago, maybe even over 10 years ago, there was a book written called The Hacker Ethic by Pekka Heimanen. And in that book, he was outlining a future where robots will do all kinds of tasks that we normally do, and I can see that shift happening, because right now we've got robot cars, we've got robot buses doing their demos around in Espoo, which is sitting next to where we are right now. Hey, good morning, Hansu. What exactly is robotics? Hopefully we can get a great answer for that question as well. Yeah, because I'm sure, there's a question behind that question. Because robotics is not just for entertainment and not just for toys and things like that, but really it's a big thing. So without getting too much into detail, I want to kind of get into our content bit here today. And so the reason we're doing this is a first in our series of conversations with thought leaders and subject matter experts, examining the shift that's happening in the world of our work and in our lives, really, as a consequence of the advances that we're making in all these technologies. And we are here to bring together the best thought leaders, experts, and some businesses and communities who want to be at the forefront of where things are happening in these different technologies. And so before we get started with robotics, just a super quick overview on what these other technologies are, what this stuff is all about. Virtual reality, maybe some of you guys have tried it out, gives you the ability to experience virtually different, visually different realities. Like you can study medicine without actually dissecting a frog, a real life frog, or you can visit places like the Louvre in France, or travel without actually having to pollute the environment and get on an airplane. Hi, good morning, Oscar. So happy to have you here. Yeah, so virtual reality is one big thing, and we're going to be looking at that in one of our next talks. Internet of Things is that technology which connects everything from your shoes to your home, your fridge, your car, is pretty much in everything, and the potential in this field is huge as well. Robots is our topic for today, so they could be bringing you your next dinner. Very likely will be harvesting the next head of lettuce that you buy, having your bus, or your cargo ship, and perhaps even packing your order from Amazon. That and a ton of other things that could be going on. So we're going to dive into that in just a second. And then there's augmented reality. Maybe you guys have been trying out and playing Pokemon, but it's not just in gaming. It's also in the way we communicate, the way we layer communications and content on top of the reality that we experience every day. Artificial intelligence, all of these, I see all of these things kind of overlapping. Artificial intelligence is basically machine learning, and it's like not a non-human consciousness that is programmed to do a specific task, and this stuff is really moving very fast in the industry as well. So the way we see it at Viral Disrupt is these are technologies that we cannot ignore. We need to try and get our head around this, and especially to see the potential and also to understand, so how can we actually make meaningful things out of this? I mean, we don't want to just have technology be developed for the sake of technology, but to have technology really resolve the real life problems that humanity is facing. And we can see that that Finland is a hub where a lot of things are happening, and we want to welcome everybody, around our kind of global campfire to join us and connect with us and see how those who are developing the tech and those who are using the tech and who would need these kinds of tech solutions in their lives, and those who are big industry players who are able to influence how things are put out into the world. We want to connect all of these so that we get some meaningful solutions into the world. So there we have it. And our special guest expert today is Cristina Andersson, whom I'm very, very honored to have joining us here today, because she's a super busy woman, and she has taken out some time out of her crazy busy travel schedule and expertise schedule to join us this morning. So welcome, Cristina. And I want to encourage you guys to engage with her and ask her all kinds of questions, because this is your chance and opportunity to get some live consultation and real answers from somebody who really knows what they're talking about. I want to encourage you to stay until the end, because we have a special bonus gift for you that will definitely save you a ton of time. And so as we get ready to welcome Cristina, my question to you is, do you guys see robotics to be more of a threat or more of an opportunity? So feel free to answer that poll coming up very soon. Yeah, it's an opportunity. We've got one for opportunity. Do we have somebody kind of scared in the house? We're gonna give you a little moment there to respond. But I'm hoping that, if you have some fears around, what's going to happen, and is that, are they going to, basically take over our jobs and take our women and our men, and, that if there is some fear around that and lack of knowledge around that, then that's okay, because today is the opportunity to explore that side. But the way we like to look at it here is more as an opportunity. That's right. Hansu can see it as an opportunity as well. So without further ado, I want to welcome Cristina Andersson, who is our resident expert, and I want to give you the floor and tell us a little bit about the threat or opportunity of where robotics is right now.
Yeah, hi everybody, and thank you, Vera, for the introduction. So interesting, and I totally agree with you. We are living in disruptive times, and everything is changing, and I agree with Hansu and Anu and everybody who is saying that this is an opportunity, but maybe also something that is worrying us.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the robots. Who are they? What are they going to do? Do they think for themselves? So I think there is lots of things to find out. Mm-hmm. And it's not so that I can tell you everything, but what I'm going to do, and what I want to do, is I want to challenge you to find out for yourself what is going on, because there are many developments going on that it's impossible to say where we are actually right now. For example, artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. That's something that when I started to study what is going on within robotics, so artificial intelligence, they didn't talk about that. But anyway, when you meet people and you talk artificial intelligence, so there are people who say, oh, that's nothing new. It was already with Leonardo da Vinci, he knew artificial intelligence and so on. And there are the other people who say, oh my goodness, it's going to take over already tomorrow and it's going to destroy us. And and between these two extremes, you need to find out the point for yourself to understand, where are we really going? What is going on here? And this, I think, is the most important question for us. What is going on here right now? And myself, I'm an educationalist, and I'm a consultant and a coach, and I have been consulting very traditional companies in the 90s, and then in 2000, I started with coaching a little bit more. And how I came into robotics was that I met somebody, very important person for me, adjunct professor Kaivo, and we started to talk that yes, people would need more creativity in their lives, because we already in the mid-2000s we really realized that technology is going to get better and better and better. We didn't know about robots, that they would, you know, develop into something important or meaningful, but anyway, technology was going to, and we were talking about ubiquitous technologies and so on. So technology is going to be everywhere. And we realized that people need to get more creative in order to cope with these technologies, so that there would be a role for us people. And so 2011, the next thing happened. I was joining a Talentum party. Talentum is a publisher in Finland, and there was the publisher was there, and I told her that, hey, we are writing a book together with Jari Kaivoja, and it's called Boho Business. We were actually not writing any book then, but she said, oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting, because the Swedes, they had written funky business, so Boho Business, a little bit like funky business, but more boho. So so she said, come and visit us. Let's make a contract and let's write this book. And so I came home from this party and I called Kaivoja and I said, hey, listen, Jari, it is so that we're writing a book. And it's called Boho Business. And he said, oh, that's cool. And he's from Tampere, so he said, okay, I'll take a train and let's go and sign the contracts. And so we did. And here is the book. And this book came out 2012 in Finnish, and 2016 an updated version in English. And in this book, every IoT, artificial intelligence, robotics, you know, you name it, everything is in this book already 2012. And what we found out was that robots are going to be everywhere. And the first thing that struck really us was that Foxconn, a Taiwanese company, said that they will replace all their workers with 1 million robots. And that was really something that, what is going on here? You know, if there are going to be so many robots and people are going out, so what is going to happen to these people? Because as I'm an educationist and humanist, so I wasn't thinking about the robots, I was thinking about the people. So what is going on? Are they going to find some other work? And if not, so what are they going to do? How are they going to make their living and support their families and so on? And then the next question is, what is going to happen with the societies if there is no income tax? So what is going on? How can we take care of our elderly people and so on? And schools. And so we found out that these robots, and we started to call it robotization. It's not our term, it has been, but robotization as a phenomenon that really changes societies and work and everything and people's lives. So the next thing, what we then found out when we were doing our research was that in South Korea, the government, they had made a foresight report in 2007 saying that in 2020, there will be a robot in every South Korean home. Okay, robot coming home. Well, it's one thing that they are in some manufacturing plants, but you know, they are in homes. They're really coming near to people. And at the same time, the South Korean government, they were so wise that they were saying that we need to start ethical discussions in order to realize what kind of society we are going to live in and what kind of rules do we need in that society. And then I started to think that, okay, Finland is, we are a high-tech country, we are very creative, we have a best education system, so surely we are discussing this in Finland too. But no discussion. And we really, with Kaivoja, we didn't find anybody in Finland to talk about this with, nobody. And so what happened, we went on with our research and I bumped into European Robotics Week and I thought that this we must have in Finland too. And so I organized together with the Ministry of Employment and the Economy, the first European Robotics Week event in Finland in 2013. Yay! It was kind of, yes, and we had 1,000 visitors and we had kids and we have everybody and we had robots. We had a robot car and we had a huge ABB robot and It was really so exciting, you know, to see those. And what was the most exciting thing was to see kids when they saw the robot. They were, ooh! And even though there was this huge ABB robot, so, and it didn't move, it didn't do anything, but the kids, they went around this robot and they were kind of, oh, wow. And I was thinking that what's in that robot? But then I realized it's the potential that it can do something. And the kids, they knew immediately it can do something. They didn't know what it could do, but it could do something. And of course, you know, kids' imagination takes care of the rest. So that was really so cool. So 2014, we had 5,000 visitors in Robotics Week, and last year, 2,000. Yes, last year we had 2,000, and that was the last year also that I organized, or my company organized it. So I was with a group of companies, for example, ABB, Opus Capita, and so on. And Zen Robotics, of course. We established a new association called Airo Island. That was last year, 2015, Airo for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. An island because we are located on an island.
That is so cool.
That's so cool. And actually it's an island where Helsinki, the city of Helsinki was founded 467 years ago. It's just the same place.
That is amazing.
That's so amazing. You know, King Gustav Vasa, he thought that we need to have a city to compete with Tallinn. So that this is a great place. So now we have our Robotics Innovation Center just beside the Technical Museum. And well, it's a great, you are all welcome to visit us.
Yeah, we've got Oscar from Sweden, although he's tuning in not from Sweden, but from the UAE.
Okay.
So he's in the Emirates right now.
Hi, Oscar. Is Oscar, are you a Swede?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure Oscar is a great fan of Gustav Vasa. We all are, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's how it started, and now, okay, I give a lot of talks, but I'm also I act as an expert for EU Parliament, EU Commission, and different ministries in Finland. My latest project, well, actually it's ongoing, is with the Ministry of Finance, and I'm starting a project with Ministry of the Social and Healthcare, and also I'm being an expert for the Finnish Parliament, and I cooperate with several companies and so on. And I travel around doing speeches, not only in Finland, but also Sweden and the EU. So this is what I do, and I'm so excited. And of course, my passion is to get, you know, just to get people like this, to get people together and to learn together and, you know, find joy of learning. And I think this traveling with robotics is something where you can find something new every day, and it's so exciting. And I'm so excited also about Robots Team. Do you see Robots Team? It's an event that we are. Robots Team. Yes, in October 2017, a fantastic robotics show together with the technology fair, where there are 15,000 people coming, and that will be so cool. You are all welcome. But anyway, shall we move forward to the next slide? When we are talking about the future of work, we need to look into the history a little bit. And when I have been talking with politicians, so I think this is what they see that the work should look like. And they still have the wet dream that there will be a factory somewhere where people, you know, they just rush in 5 shifts to work, and there are thousands of people. But this is not going to happen anymore. So this picture is really from the past, and I really urge you, everybody, to think that this is not going to happen again. But at the same time, I must tell you that there is a success story in Uusi Kaupunki in Finland, where they make great Mercedes-Benz cars. Yihu Mercedes-Benz, I'm driving also a Mercedes-Benz robot car. I love it. So they are now hiring 1,000 more people because they hired 300 more robots, and they got a new model of Mercedes-Benz into manufacturing there. So now they are hiring also more people. So the work doesn't look like this, but there are many people working in that factory, 2,000 people at the moment. So this is something that is not going to happen anymore, but Anyway, I think that, and actually the former chairman of the International Federation of Robotics, Mr. Sakakibara, said in 2013 that in next 5 years, robots are going to bring more jobs to people. So we have still some years that we can really think that there will be more jobs if we invest in robots. So I think it's a good target for investments.
Awesome. So it doesn't look like the robots are taking over our jobs, but in fact, our working life and the way we manufacture and produce things is shifting.
Exactly. That's really the point. And there are going to be new jobs. I believe that in every technological development and change, there has been more jobs, but different jobs. So here you can see how it has developed in manufacturing. So you can see that the amount of people working in manufacturing, it has been going down for a while now. And before this happened in agriculture, in farming, but in any way, there are many people working in at the moment. And there are still a lot of challenges in farming, in agriculture, because there are more and more people in this world and we need to feed everybody. So there are many, many challenges, and we are not going to survive these challenges without the help of robots. So that's very interesting to think that when we talk about artificial intelligence and all these fancy nano-sized robots, so actually one of the biggest areas is agriculture, where we will need those robots so that we can survive on this earth. So, but this is going on, and the next place where robots are going to take over is they are services. So for example, in manufacturing, there are already factories in China, totally unmanned factories, totally run by robots. But there are also now hotels that are run by robots. So services is the next place where robots are going to take over. And therefore, I think one of the biggest trends at the moment is the cooperation between human and the robot. Is this, shall I? Yeah, so work looks like this at the moment. So you can see it looks like the previous picture over there, but now people are doing something else. They are kind of coding or doing some kind of information data work. And so I was talking about services, but we need to talk about this data work also. And you see the orange guy. It's not, it's not a physical robot, but it's Opus Capita's software robot. And software robots are taking over this data work at the moment. So they can do, for example, bookkeeping is something what they can do at the moment, and they can also automate some routine tasks in information work. So actually nobody is safe from this development. We can go further and see here that does everybody see what it works? So, but anyway, there are many countries that have done their own strategies. And the latest comes from USA, actually. They updated their roadmap for robotics this year in October. But I would like to start from Japan. They made a very, very smart, I really do appreciate what they have done with the strategy for robotics in Japan. It was last year that they published it, and they have really, they are saying that they are going to solve, for example, the challenges in healthcare, which are actually the same kind of challenges what we have in Finland due to demographics, so that we have people are getting older and older, and the same thing is happening in China, for example. And therefore China is investing heavily in robotics in healthcare so that they can take care of these elderly people. And well, I must say that the situation is not so good when we think about elderly care, is that the nurses and the people who are taking care of those people, they don't have time to do their job in a proper way. So there are many people who are left alone, or they are not so well taken care of, and there is really, really lots of things that we need to do in a better way, and we are not going to do that without the robots. and that's so good. And then yes, I was talking about China. They started already 2007. China has been investing heavily in robotics. Not last year, 2014, the market growth in industrial robotics in China was 56%. And they are investing so heavily in robotics that it is said, or there's a forecast that in 2018, China will be the most robotized country in the entire world. And that's really, it's a huge development because they are really coming from behind other countries. And it's not only industrial robots that they are investing in China, they are really in high technologies, deep technologies, and everything, every possible robotics technology is what you can think about. And for example, the leading AI startups, I think they come from China today. No, not using it. Yes, no, not so fast, sorry. Vera. I'm not done with this one yet.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. So in Europe, Holland was the first one to make a robotic strategy. But of course, we have traditional robotics countries, for example, Germany. And Germany at the moment, they are also forerunners in something what we call Industry 4.0. And that actually is, it's a robotics program to make all kind of industries smarter and better. And Sweden, they published their Smart Industry 4.0 also this year. France, Denmark is one of the leading countries. UK, they have a fantastic robotic strategy, and I love UK. I was visiting UK for 1 week, and for example, in Bristol Robotics Lab, Tony and everybody in UK, if you are watching this, great hi from Finland. I hope to see you soon again. But Bristol Robotics Lab is really, it's one of the leading labs, I think, in Europe. Then in Finland we don't have a strategy, but our government made a decision that, and they made a paper and a principal decision that robotics is important for us, and they really urge every ministry to make their own plans for robotics, which now Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Social and Healthcare sector are doing that job. But in 2009, USA made this roadmap to robotics, which is really a great document. I really think that everybody should read it, and they updated it in this October, 2 months ago, I think. And they are saying that robotics is one of the technologies that has the potential to have an impact that is as big as the impact of the internet. And if you think that what kind of change internet made in your own personal life and working life, so you can think that, okay, now something really big is coming up. Mm-hmm. Now you can turn. Yeah,
thank you.
Has been here like, please.
See, we don't have a slide changing robot yet. So.
Not yet.
A robot would have executed perfectly.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this presentation looks different than
I know it does. I'm sorry.
No
it's
problem.
Changed a little bit.
So, okay, there was somebody who asked that, what is a robot? Let's get into that, finally. Mm-hmm. Finally. So here you can see the orange robot on the left side. That robot came to Finland 1979. And it came from Sweden, from Västerås, where they have a robotics factory at the moment also, and that ASEA, it's now ABB. So this robot, it's the first industrial robot that came to Finland, and it went to Fiskars. You know, Fiskars, and it was a very good welder robot. And actually, when you think about robots, these kind of machines, when you think about these days, they are not robots. They are kind of some kind of automatic machines that do the same thing and until you push a button. But anyway, they are they are sustainable products, and they are still this kind of robots that are doing welding. And for example, this car factory I was mentioned in Uusikaupunki that are doing the Mercedes-Benz, they have invested mainly in welding robotics. because, you know, human hand is not good enough to weld cars anymore. We need the robots. They are so much better in welding, for example. So, and in the middle you can see a cobot. And cobot means that when this orange robot, it must be in a cage, because it's dangerous for a human being. If you go into the same cage with this robot, which is doing the welding job, it will weld you too, because it doesn't know that you are there. But this cobot in the middle knows where you are, and it cooperates with you, and it's not harmful for you in any ways. And really, it's really cool. It looks cool when it moves, because it has several joints, and it's really high-tech product. One of the leading cobot manufacturers, and actually a success story, really big success stories, Danish Universal Robots. And they are really, well, I think they kind of coined these cobots, and selling those fantastic cobot arms everywhere in the world. But YuMe, this ABB's cobot, it's called YuMe, and I think it's quite sympathetic, and we have had it in our Robotics Week many times, and I think there's lots of opportunity, not only for manufacturing and assembly, but also for many other things. And when I look at YuMe, I think that there is only the imagination our imagination is to limit, to find out what could be done with YuMe, because it can do anything. And here, I think everybody knows already Pepper. I met Pepper for the first time in InnoRobo 2 years ago, and Pepper is a social robot, and it's very polite. It's a Japanese robot. It greets you like this, of course, like Japanese do, in a very nice way, and it's very polite, and it can read emotions from your face, so it will not tell you any stupid jokes if you look unhappy. But you could find Pepper, for example, in hotels or airports or somewhere where you need advice. And thinking about Pepper, so there was in China, they launched in October also a customs officer robot. Wow. That was very interesting. And customs officer robot looks a little bit like Pepper, but its main task is to give advice. You can go and ask if you have something to ask about customs or anything like that, but it can also recognize some suspicious persons. So if you're carrying drugs and you see this robot, so the robot will be after you, I'm sure. And when you talk about then robots, you must understand that it's not only this physical being that makes the robot. There is artificial intelligence. And at the moment, there are big strides taking in the development of artificial intelligence. One example, a part of artificial intelligence is machine learning, which Vera mentioned already. And in 2014, in Gartner Hype Curve, machine learning was not mentioned at all. But 2015, machine learning had passed already the peak of the curve. So that's really it. You know, it just means that the development is so fast that we don't understand what is going on here, and we really need to accept that we don't understand, and yet we must get into this trend somehow. And here you can see more about the robots, what they can do. I think this is the revolution comes here. For the first time, we are going to see these machines and systems as part of our everyday life. I'm sure everybody of you know the Paro robot, which is the very cute therapy robot, looks like a white seal. I was in a radio interview with Professor Michael Laakasoo, and he was talking about this Paro robot as a machine. The machine is here, and it doesn't look like a machine. It's cute. It's like a seal, and it's like you want to hug it. It's so good to hug it. And so, but he started to, you know, to scratch the machine like this, and he was, you know, petting it like this, and so. And then I said, Michael, you're petting the machine, and he was, oh no, I was just studying that. And then for a while he was like this, and then And I think that these robots, they are going to change not only how we do things, but how we, what is the social impact, how we communicate with these things. Because for us, they are not going to be only machines, they are going to be our pets.
So we have a question here from Marianne. I think that's really kind of timely right here. She's asking, in the care of the elderly or in emergency situations, what about internet between cobots? Is there benefits, for example, in caretaking work? And you did kind of allude to that earlier. Do you want to
That is really a great question, Maria, because of course, I think this is something that we really need to have, this kind of network between cobots and robots and people, so that, for example, if there is a problem that could be solved between robots, the robot that is inside the home and the robot, for example, inside the hospital or somewhere near the doctor. So if these robots together can solve a problem, so that's, of course, it's very good. So I think this is a very good question, and Maria, I must honestly say I haven't been thinking about it that much, but I'm sure that now I will start to think about it. Thank you, Maria. Really fantastic question. But here you can see on this slide, it looks very difficult.
I'm sorry, it's kind of like, it's changed. We uploaded it, and it was beautiful when we put it up there, but it's now changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's the robot changed everything. But anyway, here you can see that the robot, it has the thinking part, that's the artificial intelligence part, where you have the machine learning, and something that is really, really now developing fast is deep learning, something what they call deep learning, and it has to do with pattern recognition. For example, deep learning, it can recognize people and it can tell exactly who the person is, and it can recognize different objects and photographs and so forth. And for example, thanks to deep learning, the autonomous vehicles, they are possible, so that they don't need the map system to navigate in some kind of different terrains. And then there is this recognition, which is based on sensors. So you have sensors that communicate with the environment, and they can sense different things. They can see, they can hear, they can measure the distances, speed, light, everything like this. And thanks to these sensors and IoT, Internet of Things, there is lots of data coming, what we can use. But actually, thanks to artificial intelligence, we can make some use of this data because it's too much for people to realize big data. And there is, of course, action. There can be these software robots that doesn't have any physical form, but the robots with physical form, here is Baxter from Rethink Robotics, and they can touch, they can grip the hand of the robot. It's a gripper. So these grippers, they are also getting better and better. I have seen grippers that can move raw eggs and not breaking them. So this is really something that is developing quite fast. Are children playing more with blocks today? Do you mean like Lego blocks? Yeah, I think, and in robotics, Lego robots are, I think it's a perfect way to start with robotics. For example, this Christmas, go and buy Lego robots for your kids so they can start. They are really advanced already. But this is what robots can do, and I think this is something that we need to understand. And here you can see about the impacts of the robotics. Just imagine, in 3 years, there will be this kind of growth, 15,400%, from 200,000 pieces to 33 million pieces, service robots. And if I think about my country, Finland, so this is a huge opportunity. If we could make 1% of those robots and half of those robots into exports, this country would be so rich again. And there will be so much work for everybody, because really there is a huge demand also for these robots. It's not the demand that people have been saying, oh, I would need a robot, but the demand comes when people see what the robots can do for them. And then I think healthcare is important, and this other important thing is also well, saving our world, the climate change, and there are many things that people cannot do, but robots could do to help the world become a better place. And so there is a consultant agency, McKinsey. They have estimated that economical impact of robotics in 2025 would be $6.4 trillion, and it comes from better health. And I have been traveling around and visiting different companies, and I have seen people who would have gone to pension or retirement as very sick people, but thanks to robots that came to help them, they are not sick anymore. And this really is a fact. So better health, we get better health with the help of the robots. The other things is new products. And the third thing where this economical impact comes is new ways of doing this or making these products. So this is huge. You can all see that this is huge. I'm so excited about this.
I am as well, and it brings to mind a lot of questions. But I have some questions that were sent in advance, and I can see that there's some more questions coming up, which is great. Keep them coming. I want to give Cristina the chance to kind of unpack this still a little bit for us, and then we will launch into the Q&A session. Yes. So you will definitely have time to get your questions still answered today. All right, so.
Okay. So this is our opportunity. Nobody knows what are the robots going to look like. They can look any kind of, they can look like an animal, or they can look, the design can be something that we haven't seen before. So this is really an opportunity for everybody. No one really knows what the robot of the future is going to look like. So this is something that I really think it's a fact, and this is opportunity for you too. Here you can see a robot that is coming into markets next year from Holland. It's Rosie, and Rosie is a robot which can do many things at home, helping the elderly. There is the universal robot arm. You can see there is the behind the robot. It's also a telepresence robot, and it can bring food, and it can also bring a glass of water, and it can also feed if the person cannot eat for herself, and so on, and it maybe can do some cleaning at home. And these kind of robots, I think they are developing now quite fast. Actually, I'm also involved in one of these projects to make these multitasking robots at home, and that will be a huge market also. But the most important is, of course, that they will help the elderly people to live independent life and dignified life at home for a longer time. Nobody wants to go into a hospital or into an institution, but stay home as long as possible.
Wow, definitely. I need one of those for myself, and I'm not. I'm not one of the elderly yet. I will be, hopefully, at some point. But I can see that I would need a multitasking robot in my house, just so that I can keep up with everything that needs to happen in my everyday existence.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
You already have a robot car.
I have a robot car, but it doesn't come. It doesn't come to my place to clean up, which it should do. Yeah, no, Hansu.
Question. Yeah.
No, Hansu, it's not to get. No. Actually, not, because robotics is something that it comes to every section of life. So whatever you are doing, if you understand life, if you understand business, because I think conceptual thinking and doing new kind of service design, and this is so important. You don't need to be a technical person or engineer or anything to come into robotics. Myself, I'm an educationalist, and I have met people who they're architects, they are different people who they work within robotics. Just because this design is as important as to understand, maybe even more important, I think. Because if you understand what the robot could do, how it could help, there will be the technical solution. It will be there. So more about the cobots. This is what Mercedes-Benz. I'm saying Mercedes-Benz so many times because I love the car so much.
So they're not like actually paying you to do this promotional plug?
Well, in a way, yes, they are paying me because they make the cars in Finland.
Yeah.
So they create income, they create wealth in Finland. So in a way, yes, they pay for me for this. Thank you, Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, so the intelligent cooperation of people and robots, that's actually many manufacturers, they say that this is their strategy. And when we think about hospitals or other institutions, so this should be their strategy too. And not anymore think about people alone, but think how robot input and human input are put together in a very intelligent way. I think this is the key to success for companies. So, future of no work. Maybe there is, maybe we don't need to do work anymore. Maybe we can put robots to work, and robots create wealth for us. So you can, we need to start thinking very seriously what humans do when machines can do almost everything. We have to refine the meaning of good work. So I think this is something we really, really, really need to think about. Maybe there is no work for humans anymore because robots can create that wealth for us. So we can take my last slide. Happy you people there, you get rid of my slides. I think this is what I love so much. Robots make wealth, people create value. If we can create those value-adding concepts and designs, so robots can make it into wealth. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Cristina. Yeah, that brings to mind a lot of questions and a lot of opportunity. Before we dive into some of our additional questions, I would just like to ask a little poll from all of you guys who are live with us right now. So which areas of life do you feel digital technology will disrupt the most? So I'm going to just give Melissa a second there to get the poll. Okay, you can't get them? Okay, never mind. Let me see if I can get that. Anu is answering logistics. Yeah, let's just do it like this then. Let's just answer, type into your chat box there which areas you think are going to get most disrupted. So there, Anu thinks logistics and then industry. Is there some other thoughts around that? Conceptual thinking and services added with design in care work, absolutely essential. Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Any other thoughts around that? I mean, for me, it would be hard to really pick out which of these would get the most disrupted. Yeah, Anu has this idea that health definitely. I mean, we've gotten a good portion of the robotics examples that Cristina shared with us here have to do with health or the care.
Yeah, and health, I must say that if you follow Professor Vivek Vadva, I think he's from MIT, he says that healthcare sector or medicine will change next 10 years more than it has developed in its entire history. So I think health is, for me, I think health is number one. There will be the most disruption will happen there.
Yeah, that sounds like definitely in our future viral disrupt talks, like a topic that we need to dive into, like specifically around health and care, and then perhaps dive into a bit of the nutrition part there as well. But I mean, it is a wild and fascinating world out there. So to get your bonus gift, stay until the end of our live broadcast. We'll share out a link for you to a list of all the different events around these topics, so that you can find out where around the world to go to, or what kind of event or community to join to find out more about these things. And so let's go into the Q&A. I'll give Melissa a little moment time to kind of Okay, so she did. Yeah, Maria was asking about ethics. So the ethics question on, maybe we can rephrase that. What, Melissa?
Let me see. Yeah.
Well, I think ethics is it's a big question, and actually at the moment, the EU and USA at least, these two parties, they are really they're thinking about ethics, and they also made several drafts about ethics. So I'm sure that we will get some answers, but I think we shouldn't let these questions only for the legislators, but we should think about them for ourselves also, and maybe have some kind of citizens discussions about this, because it's coming. Robots are coming also to those people who don't maybe understand so much that they are robots. For example, people who are suffering from dementia or something like that, and we need to think ethics for those people too.
Yeah, Maria's original question was how to relieve the ethical questions concerning robotics. I think maybe you did address that. Kind of taking that on another level, about the ethics. Legislators are, in some countries, are taking action already on this, drafting law or drafting policy at least, and white papers around this. But what about taking it back to my 11-year-old at home, whom you suggested that I would buy some Lego robot blocks for? Like, I have interesting conversations with my 11-year-old around just things like she's on social media, and just the transformation that has happened. She, in her smartphone, she's got access to 350 different channels to communicate with people that she's never met before in real life, in multiple languages, live. And so we have those kinds of conversations at home. And now if we bring onto the field of play, like not just Puro, the care robot, but all kinds of, like, onslaught of robotics, like that.
Okay.
Like, who do I turn to for advice and outlining? Because I mean, there's maybe some morality issues there. How do we raise our kids, or will the robots end up raising them?
Very interesting question, because there are real robots in schools already, and there has been lots of robots have been helping, for example, children with learning difficulties and so on. So there will be robots in schools. So I have been thinking about this, but maybe you, Vera, will become an expert on this, because you have this test platform in your home.
Oh, hopefully, it's. I've got maybe 8 months time to figure this out before it all comes alive. Okay.
There was the question about Legos. Is there more interest in playing with Legos, kind of like with the traditional playing blocks? That will that kind of interest in children disappear? Is that why?
Yeah. So there's a concern about will the interest disappear is everything going digital, or is there still some fascination with the potential of creation through your own
I think just
play?
on the contrary, the makers movement, or the makers culture, I think that's huge trend also now. People, with help of the robots, we can make things, or 3D printers, or just with our doing some artifacts with our hands. So I think there is always need for people to do something with their hands and create something physical, so that they can see, they can use. And I think also in the future we want to use glasses where we drink our water, and digital water maybe doesn't help us much. So I really believe in the physical world and the makers culture, so that will be kind of not the antidote, but something that comes along with the robotics and digital, I think.
Okay. Alrighty. So keep your questions coming. I have a couple of questions from before, and I think you did answer answer this, like how you got into robotics. You got into robotics because you ended up writing the boho business book, which is still available. Can you get it on Amazon or
Yes.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon and probably at your local book retailer as well. If not, then just order it online. We'll plug in the link for you. We'll send in the link for you as well after the webinar. But how did you get so passionate about robotics?
Yeah, because I saw that robots really they can save the world. I believe, like Peter Diamandis, that with the help of technology we can really make this world a better place. And that's my passion, that find those solutions where we can help people and we can help this environment so that it can become better. That's my passion.
Absolutely awesome. Next question. So what happens to expert jobs now that robotics is coming? I mean, you stated that we need to concentrate on creativity and maintaining and nurturing creativity. But I mean, before we used to, kids got encouraged to study law or study medicine or study some of those kind of, hard to get into high value expertise jobs because of job security reasons. It's adding a lot of value. Therefore, that would be the opportunity to, sustain themselves and their families and be, enjoy abundance and job security. But so if the robots are going to start doing those kind of high value expert jobs, then what should we tell our kids to study?
Well, I think it's very important to study anyway, so that you get that routine of studying and learning things. That's so important, that you learn to learn. That's the most important thing. And when you learn something, you learn the way to learn something else too. But it is true that there are many jobs that really are going to change. For example, the job of the doctor, the medicine doctor, who maybe becomes more like a coach, but really needs to know about human being, about anatomy, about how things work and so on, so that they can cooperate with the robots, helping people to get better. But we need to think, for example, hospitals in a new way. Now there are big queues to hospitals and it takes a long time to get into a surgery or something like this. We need to think in a new way, so that the hospital is really a place where you just pass through. So these the nurses of the future, they are not a long-time friend in a hospital, but somebody who really cares about you for that short moment when you are there, and the robots take care of the other operations. So we need to think in a new ways, and this thinking in a new ways, I have found, is very difficult for people to really think in a new way. We want to think, we'd like to think that everything is like, it's the same, but it's a little bit different anyway. But we need to think totally in a new ways. And robot lawyers, they are ones that I think, I don't know if in Finland we have such dramas in courts like in USA, or we can see in the TV, but anyway, there is always place for a lawyer who can see the whole picture also from the human perspective. So I'm sure that if I say humanism or people or this kind of things and creativity, I cannot be too wrong, at least.
So it sounds like there really is an intense shift towards kind of conceptual thinking, big picture, connecting the dots, kind of
caring,
meta level thinking, creation, and people skills. I mean, ironically enough, it sounds to me like you're saying that the more we are interacting with robots and the more robots are doing the jobs that we used to do, the higher importance comes to these kind of people skills.
Yes, and I have found that when people talk about the ethics of the robots, they are actually thinking about ethics of human beings, not the robots. I think that with the help of the robots, we are going to refine ourselves in a new way, because we really, if they are saying that the robot must be ethical, then we must be ethical too. And not everybody is very ethical in their actions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is there a question that you guys want to still ask around this? I have a couple of more from before, but But
a clarification on the relationship between artificial intelligence and robots, kind of like what is artificial intelligence, what is robotics, and how do they intersect? What is the...
I'm not entirely sure if you can hear that, so I'm going to briefly rephrase that question. So Melissa is here in the room with us, and she wanted to get clarification on the relationship between artificial intelligence and robotics. So what is what, and how do they interplay?
Okay, artificial intelligence is the brain, if you like, and it can learn, as I told already, machine learning or deep learning also. And robot is something, an actor who puts things to work. So it can be a physical robot that can do something with its grippers or anything. It can be any size, nano size or mega size. And it can be also a physical robot, or it can be a software or virtual robot. But anyway, robot is something that puts things to work. And artificial intelligence is the one who gives the commands. And sensors are interacting with the environment.
Okay, thank you for that clarification there. So now going back to the world of work, do you see that the robots will eventually take over customer care, not just in the care of the elderly or in medicine, but in those customer interfacing jobs? Are we going to get, you know, teleconference? Are we going to get like sales calls from robots?
Oh, that's happening already. And there was a university in the United States where they had a tutor. Her name was it Sharon Watson or something like this, and the students thought it was a human tutor, but it was actually a bot. And what I think is when these robots, when they come to homes, we will meet the day when a person says that I don't need human nurses in my home anymore because the robot is enough. And this is something that people need to think that why would somebody prefer a robot for a person? So we need to become better people so that we would have a place in this world.
Here Anu is asking, will robots save our planet?
Well, I hope so. I'm sure Anu hopes so too, that they could save our planet, because our planet needs a lot of saving.
So not just saving the planet, but again saving human connection. Do you see, I mean, I think your statement that we need to become better humans for other humans to actually want to connect with us and engage with us, as opposed to preferring the robot. I mean, the puro care robot, the you know, furry seal is maybe funner as a friend.
It's a paro
robot, because you know there isn't that mess of conflicting value systems and emotions and differences of opinion. Do you feel like we will be eventually losing the human connection in customer-facing jobs, or you know, is it just actually will not just Sharon, but will robots become better at customer care?
Well, I should hope so. When you think about banks, for example, do you meet anybody in banks anymore? No, because you do everything with the help of your phone or with your computer. So where you really need people, I really hope that there will be people, that will be people also in the future. But I think there are many communication jobs already also where well, robots will replace humans, because everybody, for example, me, I'm so busy that I don't have time to wait for a human being to come and serve me. So I would be very happy to have a robot, for example, in a cafeteria or in a restaurant. But there are different times, of course. So if I would like to have a luxury dinner, you know, have time, have space, good friends, so it would be nice that there would be a human waiter who would come and talk about the food and talk about how they found it and how fantastic it is. So, you know, it depends.
So that kind of invites a whole new level to the question of presence, like the you know, emotional quantity, or you know, just the quality and consciousness, and how do we actually, you know, identify levels of presence in the other human being. So that kind of I can see a new viral disrupt talk coming up from there.
Oh, yes, and this is really disruptive because people, they start to like the robots.
Yeah.
They really like the robots. And I was in Russia, well, actually I was there last week, and there was a professor who was talking about artificial intelligence, and he showed a picture about an iceberg, and there, beyond the surface, there was, he said that this is artificial intelligence, the small part, which we could see. And then the huge, under the surface, was, he said, it's emotional intelligence, what they are really studying at the moment, because emotional intelligence in a robot is the important part, so that we can really, you know, have them working as nurse or in a customer care. And there also now there is a study which they call artificial empathy. Ooh. So this kind of we don't know where robots are going.
Yeah, I know a lot of workplaces and communities where we would be very happy to have artificial empathy or even just real empathy.
Yeah, and even if some people could have some artificial empathy, that would be nice.
That would be great. We just like download and install it like in the Matrix movie.
Exactly.
So on to business, into the world of business. What kinds of business opportunities do you see that robotics will be opening up for us in the next 3 years?
Fantastic, fantastic opportunities. And I refer to service robotics, which is growing so fantastically. So I think that everybody who gets in somehow into service robotics, is it then artificial intelligence or, you know, any solution within robotics will, you know, succeed, I'm sure, because there are so many opportunities. Service robotics within next 3 years, yes, service robotics and human-robot cooperation.
Okay, so a lot of new shifts, work is changing, new working opportunities are coming up,
yes.
And it sounds like new industries are being born.
Exactly, and this is a totally new industry, which, for example, here in Finland, we would love to have.
I think we're kind of running out of questions. Here's a last one.
Okay.
Last one or two. Can robotics evolve independent of the other industry verticals, or is everything interconnected with everything?
Interconnected. You cannot take AI from the robot. That's impossible. Robot has artificial intelligence, it has sensors, and it has an internet protocol, so it is connected to the big data. And from this, then augmented reality and virtual reality, and it has to do with robots. And for example, when you design spaces for robots, you are using virtual reality or augmented reality. So it's all interconnected. And when I talk about robotics, I mean all this.
Okay, so it's all kind of baked in there.
Yes, yes. It's like a muffin. Thank you for the muffin.
It's the robot muffin.
I think we now know what we need to serve at the event.
Yeah, we need to bring in robot muffins. No, I have one more personal question, but here's a question that was sent in before. So what do you see as the most important workplace skills of the future with the onset of robotization across industries?
Well, I think that one very important skill is to really understand the opportunities in this robotization and robotics business. That's something that you can really see. And for the business leaders of today, my message is that find out how you can build your business concept on understanding where you need robot input, where do you need human input, and how do you put these inputs to work together in a successful way. And if you cannot do this, you will run out of business very soon.
That's a powerful.
It's so powerful.
It is a powerful statement, but I mean, just all of those facts that you know hit us with, it's just mind-boggling to understand. And I have zero doubt that this is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you here. So where can we go to find out more if we want to understand robotics? Is there a resource that you would like to point us to other than the book that you shared with us already? Should we come to an event, or should we join your list? Or
yeah, well, Robot Steam event, of course, next October, and then there is Viral Disrupt event in April, I think, yes. And then there is the fantastic search robot called Google. Go there and Google these words and make different combinations of words. Make, for example, robotics, economics, artificial intelligence, politics, or anything. You put those words that you are interested in, and you will find fantastic material from around the world. And if you want to look at the national strategies, look into Japan, UK and USA. You can find material which is very interesting, and also links to other materials which I'm sure you will find interesting. Cool. And in Finland, of course, Airo Island, and you are welcome to join our events. iRobot, which is for startups, JuniorBot, which is for school kids, NordicBot, where we are connecting with other Nordic countries in robotics, and of course Robotics Week, again next November.
Wow. I'm gonna need to write all these down and capture these so that we can send it out to you guys by email after the replay. So is there more questions from our audience today? I know some people had to go already to another event, to attend another meeting. Some more questions that you guys want to get answered, then I would love to pass those on to Cristina while we still have her with us. So just plug them into the chat box there. And if there's no more questions, I'd like to know how you guys plan on staying on top of these technologies. Cristina does this because this is what she lives and breathes. But how do you guys want to stay on top of this? Like, are you looking to attend events? Would you like to hear more of these types of webinars? Should we do this? Yeah, should we do more of these? Do you want to read blogs, or what do you want to do to stay on top of what's going on?
Should I study to get into robotics?
Yeah, Hanso is asking, what should he study to get into robotics?
There are many things that you can study if you are just starting your studies, and in Finland we have something called Universities for Applied Sciences. That's very good. And if there are universities, around the world there are great universities with robotics programs. That's something what you can do. But also, for example, MIT, Stanford, they are offering for free some courses, and maybe a good place to start is YouTube. It's full of material. So this kind of self-study to find out what you'd want to know about robotics, where would you like to use robotics. So that's a good point. And then start to Google, go to YouTube, go to these different Carnegie Mellon University, for example, in USA, fantastic. You will find fantastic material. And if you want to apply to a university, so in Finland, these universities apply, for example, Metro, Aalto University in Finland, University of Lappeenranta and Tampere, so these are really good resources in Finland. In China, there are already several universities that focus in robotics.
So are you telling me the entire university is focusing on robotics?
Yes.
Whoa, are we behind the curve or what?
We are. I'm sorry to say that we are.
Really?
Yeah, but take responsibility for your own learning, because if you cannot find something near you, the internet is full of information.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can't, maybe kind of to summarize everything that Cristina shared with us today, if you don't know about it, find out. And if you don't know, where to find out, then ask somebody. Google it up, yo.
Yeah.
And a place, if it feels like there's a lot of scattered information out there on the interwebs, that is true, there is. And that's one of the reasons why we are organizing the Viral Disrupt event here in Helsinki. next April in Korjaamo, and that's why we decided to start this Viral Disrupt series of webinars and live talks to bring in industry experts in all of these topics, because all of us know a little bit about something, but none of us know everything about everything. And we're really fortunate to have somebody like Cristina here with us to introduce us really in depth into the world of robotics and how that's all interconnected. So if you want to learn more, you're welcome to check it out and come and attend our event. It's at viraldisrupt.com. The event is for you if you feel like there's a lot of stuff going on, if you feel like you want to really understand what's happening in tech, in business, and how the world is shifting, and if you enjoy a kind of a more small, intimate setting where you've been to those huge conferences with over 10,000 attendees and it just doesn't feel like the pieces are fitting in in your head, and doesn't feel like you're able to really make those meaningful connections. The Viral Disrupt event is a smaller setting where we will have a select few people attending, and and the quality of the conversations and the quality of connections made is going to be really world-class. So if you want to have meaningful conversations, if you want to get more sales and get introduced to great people like Cristina, who is able to perhaps open some doors for you, then this event is for you. The event is definitely not for you if you don't believe in learning, if you don't believe that it's worth your time to sit down and take arrange one-on-one meetings with people, and if you're not really in a position in your life to take things forward, probably in that case this event is something that you're going to want to opt out of. And again, it's a live event and there is a virtual component to it, but if you're one of those people who thinks you already know everything and who doesn't enjoy a live setting, then not your thing. Had an amazing time last year. We had a similar event, although we only concentrate on VR and AR at that time, so we're broadening up the scope this April. Emmy's company, Robust North, who are into AR, they've developed some awesome technology that you can sample on the Viral Disrupt website. They found a new team member and they got some new customers from last time, and we're super excited to have them along with us this time as well. And here's a kind of overall picture of what's going to happen. This is really a very different kind of an event. We've only got 500 seats. We're going to definitely have some expert, talks, keynotes, but also pitching, reverse pitching. And what this means is we're not going to have, companies pitch to investors. We are going to have companies pitch to people, because a lot of times the real struggle is in, so how do we get more customers for our amazing solution or amazing robot or amazing thingamadooey that we've created, and we need more customers for it, and we maybe don't have the correct sales channels to access South Korea. Well, if that's something that you need to have addressed, then you should be at Viral Disrupt. There's going to be a lot of really exciting exhibitors present, and the opportunity to pre-arrange one-on-one meetings with people, so you're actually going to have time to really sit down face-to-face with other human beings and hopefully some robots. we don't know who all are coming yet. There's going to be fireside chats, and there's going to be a big old party afterwards. So it sounds like it's going to be a great event. There were some, a lot of connections were made. Newcomers were found. Partners were found the last time, and we're excited about what's going to happen the next time we reconnect around these topics. And I'm not just making it up. There's here's a couple of pointers on, what people said from last time. If you want to get early bird access to the Viral Disrupt event, now is your chance. It was just Cyber Monday, so we're extending it over to Cyber Tuesday. Is that a thing? It is now. so there's early bird access for a little while still, if you want to come as a visitor, or if you want to bring your technology over. The early bird exhibitor pass is a really super affordable one. You get the whole day's program and everything at the super early bird price of 900 euros. So there you have it. We asked about the technologies that are most relevant for you. We had a great conversation around robots, in-depth conversation around robots, and how that interplays with everything else, artificial intelligence. And wow, my last question for Cristina, since we still have you here, is nanorobots. What are nanorobots? You talked about that.
Well, nanorobots, that's really, really so interesting because, you know, for example, with the help of a nanorobot, the surgery can be made so that you, for example, you swallow the robot or you inject the robot and it goes right to the tumor or somewhere and does the operation inside you. And that, of course, it's better for you because then nothing needs to be cut. And this is our future, nanorobots. And for example, in Russia, they have developed a nano-sized robot that can clean veins from inside the vein so that they travel and clean the vein. It's not allowed to use in humans yet, but maybe someday. So these are nano-sized robots. They can be used in other places than in humans too. So that's the size counts.
Wow, that is amazing. It sounds like, you know, Jason Bourne and James Bond and all of that, you know, stuff is actually real.
It's real and they already exist, you know. There are these kind of robots, and that's why I cannot talk enough about healthcare because it's going to make our life so much better. And I can tell a short story just to end this discussion. A friend of mine, he was going to heart surgery, and so he said that, please pray for me that they could make the surgery with the help of the robot. Because if they can use a robot, so the robot goes in from here and does a whole size of a finger like this, and then does the job here in the heart and comes out. And but if they cannot do with the robot, they need to open the entire chest and you do the job, you know, in the heart, and then sew it together again. But well, I prayed, but they didn't use the robot. So and my friend, he's 63 years old and an entrepreneur, and he got 3 months sick leave, and he used 6 days because as an entrepreneur you cannot, you know.
Yeah, you just can't take 3 months of sick
yeah
leave.
So let's pray that we get those robots to do these surgeries, because then, and these surgeries, they are called the minimally invasive surgery, and it tells everything about what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. Huge potential for robots and for the future. Thank you so much for staying up way up until the end. So here's your special free gift, bonus gift, to save you a lot of time and effort in trying to Google up all of the cool things happening around the world. What we've done is our Viral Disrupt team has put together a list for you of all of the events that are getting put out into the world for 2017, involving these different technologies. So with that link, you can just download it over there. And if you liked what you heard, if you feel like you've got some value out of this webinar here today, let us know and sign up for the next one, because we're having the next, you get to influence, you know, the topic of the next talk that we do, so that we can, you know, find the best expert in that particular technology that is of interest to you. So go over to bit.ly/VD waitlist to sign up and get notified the next time we're doing one of these. And we're scheduled to go on January 10th. Probably we might actually do a surprise one even before then, but we are kind of quieting down for the holiday season around here in a couple of weeks. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us around robotics today, and wish you not only effectiveness, but creativity and higher level thinking in all that you do, be it around robots, be it around learning, be it around whatever it may. Thank you so much, and see you next time on Viral Disrupt Talks.